You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter and iWalter. I actually didn't prepare anything today, so that's actually good for everyone. Because it is Black Friday on the 27th of November, 2015. Again, I don't have anything prepared, just because it is Friday. Me and my parents and I should say, because my friend will correct me on that. We went to Cracker Barrel yesterday. I tell you, that was really interesting. I have two friends that I really talk to anymore. I have two friends that I actually communicate with at all. And the one friend went home to eat with his parents. The other one actually went to visit his parents. They went out to a Cracker Barrel in Wilkesboro. Now, it's funny. We ate at the exact same time, the exact same place, different locations, though. Both were Cracker Barrel. And it was funny, though, because, both our parents are retired. Now, the difference was both meals were exactly the same price. Mine was actually, ours were both the exact same price. We left, ironically, the same kind of tip, too. But here is the real knee slapper, though. My friend said, though, that his parents refused to have him pay for anything, so they paid for everything. My dad, though, he was really cheap about the whole deal. I hate to say this. So my mother got for her birthday back in September, when her birthday was, from her sister, she got a gift card. I got to move this mic a little bit. So you're going to hear it kind of do a noise thing. So for $25, my dad said, make sure you bring that gift card along to our, for our Thanksgiving meal. So then, he was complaining about the meal. It was $12 a person. He was complaining it was like how expensive it was. And we should have gone for Thanksgiving meal, dinner. We should have went to this place where you don't have to tip. It's a fast food restaurant, basically, on Easter. Or Thanksgiving, I'm sorry. And, I can't remember the name of the place, but it's one of those, like, fast food places. It's down on Germantown Pike. Now I can't find it, so give me a second. I just got on. I can't. I'm already pausing, so I'm going to pause for a split second. Okay, now I remember what I was going to say. It's Boston Market. I had taken a pause. You can't probably tell, but yeah, I just had taken a pause. That's pretty pathetic. I can't remember. It's Boston Market, though. My dad wanted to go for Thanksgiving. It was like, you know what? That's kind of ridiculous. My mom had to give up her $25 gift card from her sister for our meal yesterday, and he was bitching and complaining. So I was like, listen, you know what? I'll just give you, what do you call it? I'll give you... I'll pay for the tip. So it was $36 for the meal, $38 with the tax. I gave them the waitress. She was really good, an $8 tip, and all he basically had to pay out of pocket for a meal for three people is $12 or $13, and he was bitching and complaining it was just like so expensive and stuff, and so many words were less. Now that was the highlight. It's bad enough I've been off for the last 2 months. Still getting paid, still technically considered at work, but it's gotten it's getting that I'm going to have to call work and say, okay, what's going on, just to keep me, abrupt or whatever, or at least keep me informed what's going on at work, because I have no clue at this point. But yeah, it was very cool to, what can I say? Have Thanksgiving yesterday because I actually did a little bit of my own Black Friday shopping on Thanksgiving Day. So places actually open up around 4 or 5 o'clock and allow people. So that part was cool. But yeah, the meal of my dad actually just gave me a bad headache, and actually I had acid reflux all day yesterday after just a little time I spent with my father. And it's weird because I've eaten at this Cracker Barrel is where we went before, and I've never gotten acid reflux like I did yesterday. And plus I had a really bad headache that went from the front of my head to the back of my head. It was very, very painful. So I don't know why I've been getting those lately. I kind of seriously think it's partially because my father driving me nuts. No offense, I love my dad, but he just drives people crazy. We had actually, it's funny, I shouldn't say this, but it's true. We had this guy who used to basically cut our lawn and stuff and take care of the shrubbery outside. My mom basically wanted somebody who would do it besides my father because, somebody professional. And this guy got to the point after so many years of my dad just basically harassing the poor man every time he came over, complaining like, "Oh, you're not doing the work right. You need to do this. You need to do that." The guy actually told my mother, it's like, "Listen, I've had enough of your husband, my dad, and I refuse to service your yard anymore." So the guy basically said, this is it. I've had enough he had enough of my father, enough of my, basically. Because my dad just loves to get in your face and start arguments and complain about everything. It's kind of like me. Maybe that's where I get it off of. But, yeah, it's pretty sad. But, yeah, this lawn service guy actually said, he literally said, "I just had enough. I can't stand he can't stand my father anymore." And he told my mom that he's never going to cut our yard again. He's never going to do any service for our property ever again. So, and that was like last year probably at this point, or sometime this year. So it can't be just me complaining habitually, on a regular basis about my father and my parents, but there's a lot of truth to what is going on. So last night I hung out with a friend a little bit. That was cool. And I told him, listen, I had to get out of the house. I went down towards my old stomping ground of Willow Grove, and that was actually really nice. They did have a lot of good Black Friday sales. I actually went for one split second. Cost $5. It was unbelievable. I got this Friday the 13th shirt, which I was actually going to buy before I went away, which retails normally at Old Navy for $20. It was on sale for like $5. It was $10 marked down, on clearance for $10. Willow Grove Old Navy was the only one in Pennsylvania that had it in stock also. It was like, great. So I can kill two birds with one stone, go back to my old stomping ground. I used to live in, Willow Grove, Horsham area. And that being said, kind of like look out. I didn't spend that much time, unfortunately, there. Not as much as I'd like to, because I just kind of figured it's probably nice to go back to my old stomping grounds, but even on Thanksgiving Day, which was technically the beginning of the Black Friday nightmare, which it really was not that bad at all. I don't want to spend too much time and just get aggravated. So I went in. They had a couple of these shirts, so I would take a size medium, and they had like 2 or 3 left of these Friday the 13th shirts, which are really cool looking, for $5. I thought it was, $10 was great because it was half off. $5 is even better yet. So it was like I was ready to buy the last 2 they had, but it was like, you know what? These are going to end up, after a while, I'll probably most likely get tired of it. Just more garbage I'm wasting money on, so I ended up basically just getting 1 instead of 2 or 3, which was probably a smart move. But no, my luck, now I'll wear this Friday the 13th shirt until it falls off me, most likely. And again, it's an exclusive for Old Navy because it has Old Navy label inside the thing for $5. You can't beat it. My mom actually gave me for Thanksgiving, my mother, she gave me $15 for for Thanksgiving. And I said, well, I'll use that towards the meal. And she said, you better not. And it's like, yeah, you don't understand. Well, she probably doesn't want to understand. It's more like it. Yeah, if I don't use that money you gave me for Thanksgiving towards the meal for, that we go out to eat with, her bitch and complain, which he did, and I end up using most of that for that. But, $5 of it actually went towards the T-shirts. It didn't come out of my pocket. It came out of money my mother gave to me, which I really appreciate, too, by the way. Yeah, so, but yeah, Best Buy, actually, I went in there. I was trying to look for some Christmas gifts, and I texted a person and called a friend, and he didn't answer until I said, well, here's some stuff that's on sale that's normally like box sets of TV shows. Normally are like $40, $50, was on sale yesterday and today, obviously, because it was the beginning of Black Friday sales for literally $10. So it was like, hey. So he instantly responded about back on that. Now that's kind of funny, because my friend's like almost turning 50. And he's like a big kid. Like, people don't ever grow up, unfortunately. I hate to say this. They continue to act like children, I guess. And I've seen that even with my own parents. Hey, I can say it about myself if that makes you feel better, forever who listens to me. But, yeah, people never really do grow up. They just grow older. So, if you act like a child now, don't think you're going to grow out of it. Whatever kind of attitude you have now is going to continue to follow you until the day you die. That's just the bottom line. I've come to that conclusion. So not that I like it, I'm just saying it's the truth. So whatever personality a person has now, don't think it's going to change as they get older. They always say, as you get older, that you get wiser. No, you actually just look older, but your mental outlook is actually exactly the same as it is when you're a teenager. I've noticed that even with, obviously again with my parents. I know my father one time, he got pissed off at my mother, I guess because I'm home all the time. I came to this realization that he's used to getting all the attention from my mother, and now that I'm home, he has that person who is, a third wheel in the house, because I'm home constantly, but I do my own thing. I prefer to do that, and I kind of just stay out of their way, but he still is bothered by the fact I'm in the house. But, he blew up the one day. He got real angry at my mother and started yelling and screaming. And the point is, though, he still is like he was. That I remember my father when I was a kid, and he was only in his 30s. I mean, he acts exactly the same now as he did years ago. He hasn't changed a bit. He just looks a lot older. But that's about as far as it goes. So yeah, but going back, it depends. If you like certain TV shows, a lot of them were $10. They had movies for $2. Really good films. There was one movie in Blu-rays were like $3. So for movies, so there was one film I actually got. At the time, I didn't like it at all. But I figured for $3, I'd like to check it out again, see if I missed anything. It was this movie called It Follows, I think. Let me double check the name of that. And it actually did scare me, because I watched it last night after I hung out with my friend Matt. Yeah, it is. It's called It Follows. Came out last year. The music is kind of creepy. Nothing really original. The movie was kind of bland for the most part, but it did actually, believe it or not, it actually did scare me in certain parts, to the part that I was actually jumping. So that's always a good sign. If a movie makes you jump, that's a good sign. So, hey, on the line of Friday, on Thanksgiving, I almost said, well, it's Friday, Black Friday. I was checking this. I saw this the other day, and I actually kind of dismissed it because I figured, it probably is, but it is really funny. I don't know if I mentioned this on my show, so I'm mentioning it now. And it was a theme from Saturday Night Live for Thanksgiving on Adele's really popular song. So I'm looking at it now, and it says a Thanksgiving miracle on SNL. And it was really actually, you got to take, hey, this is politically incorrect or, siding with the one side. Sometimes you got to kind of overlook, and stop pegging everything into being about politics all the time, because you're going to end up giving yourself heartburn or just make yourself sick. So sometimes you got to find humor in certain things that maybe you disagree with, or for once, you actually got to go with that Dale Carnegie book or whatever it is, the one that says how to influence friends and how to influence people and make friends or something like that, where he says you take out of what people say, even if it doesn't true, find that grain of truth to agree with people you would normally disagree with. You basically, that way you're kind of breaking them down and taking their steam out of how to, them of getting under your skin. So I kind of did this in the perspective with this short from Saturday Night Live, and it was just plain fucking funny anyway. So I looked at it, and it was. I got to pause. Somebody's actually ringing my doorbell. So I will be back in a moment, and I won't do any intermission thing. All right, folks. Hey, this has been a hard night. Every time I try to do something, there's some type of distraction. So I forget where I left off, actually. I don't expect the show to be anything precise. And by the way, if you use my show as a source of information, you'd probably be better off just reading the funny papers on Sunday and getting more accurate news than what I give you. So, it was on the SNL thing. That was actually really funny. There's a couple on there. I'm not a big fan of the new Saturday Night Live, but the skit they actually did on about Thanksgiving, because basically it is true when you go to a meal. My father said this too, and it's true. It's basically progress reports on how much better you are than anybody else, or just bringing up conversations that people are just going to start arguments on. So SNL took it to the next step, and they had this little girl in the skit actually turn on a song from Adele that basically broke down the barriers between people's difference of opinion. And it was actually, again, it was very funny. It is on my, Facebook page. I will give the name of that again, by the way. And yeah, a Thanksgiving miracle. I actually thought it was really funny. But again, I was actually starting in the process of looking up the Dale Carnegie thing. I can't say his name right, so I'm probably honestly saying it incorrectly. So, yeah, let me see if I can find it. I actually shut down all my Explorer things. Influence. It's not even that people, and I had the book years ago. I actually did follow it, and I had some woman say I was being a smart ass. So that really works. How to Win Friends and Influence People is the correct name of the book. And I think it is, cops are pulling somebody over in my neighborhood right now. I wish I could do that, but yeah, they got pulled right over in front of my house. It's his first name's Dale. It looks like Carney or something like that. It's like a #1 book, a self-help book from years ago. It's still really 1936 when it was originally written. Unfortunately, I did follow that book, and I had some woman tell me I was a smart ass. So it didn't work too well. Actually, it worked really well because the woman was being sarcastic to me, trying to insult me. This was years ago, and basically I agreed with her, and she told me I was being a smart ass. So hey, there you go. So it actually kind of did work out in many ways. It is a good book. Don't get me wrong. But I'm being truthful. That actually did happen to me. Again, I'm trying to keep it on the low on my reading my stories and just botch them up. By the way, it was really funny. Oh, I was going to go real quick. Again, if you go to Best Buy, even Walmart, they had some really good sales. Hey, they had the newest season, present season of Doctor Who. Part 1, they call it, the first couple episodes of Doctor Who, on sale for like $10 at Walmart. which is really good because normally I think it's like $30. It was on sale for $10. Not a bad deal. They had a couple copies left, but most of them were gone. I'm sorry, I keep on straying away from seeing the cop who pulled somebody over in front of our house. What a shock. Yeah, can you believe that? Really bad drivers, I know. It's hard to believe on a Black Friday. But yeah, they're both, a lot of these stores were saying there was, well, they had some really good sales. What I was ready to say, by the way, I looked on the Daily UK Mail, and they were saying there was a lot of people fighting over Black Friday sales, even on Thursday. And honestly, I didn't see any of that at all. So I was out on Thursday. I was out today a little bit, and I didn't see anybody, basically just acting like total morons. Not at all. So they actually made a joke out of one page. It was on iHorror, which said, "Unsettled video compares Black Friday shoppers to zombies." And, yeah, honestly, years ago, I think it was a much worse where, even last year, you hear about these episodes with people basically just ripping people apart or, basically jumping each other just for the great sales. No, I think that was actually very smart of them to, what do you call it? I can't even think of the right word. Doing it on Thursday because it kind of calmed people down for like the Friday sales and the Thursday sales were pretty much the same thing. So you weren't really, you could do it a day ahead of time, gets people out of the house. And I didn't see any problems with that. So, that's one thing. I'm sorry, I'm taking a pause. But by the way, I read some interesting stories. I did find a few, which I'll go over. One was Johnny Mount fatally shot a Waffle House waitress who asked him not to smoke a cigarette. And that was pretty funny. That actually just went up today. And that was on the Dreamin' Demon. I don't know exactly where they got the source from this. And it says some place I don't know where. So I'm going to see if I can figure it out real quick. It was in Mississippi. So, somewhere in Mississippi. It was where, this guy had a 52-year-old man. Oh, wait, 52-year-old woman was shot in the head just because she asked this guy to please put out your cigarette to waitress. So I feel bad for her. The shooting happened at 11 a.m. today. 45, this guy, Johnny Mount, 45, got into an argument with a Waffle House employee over smoking inside the building, which you're not allowed to smoke in any public domain anymore. So it said instead of putting out a cigarette, he basically pulled out a 9mm handgun which he had concealed in his shirt and shot the 52-year-old woman in the head. So that's a shame. There's some places, I guess, that, maybe you need to regulate guns, I assume. Unfortunately, I think in your house, and sometimes you do need it for protection, it just makes it even harder now to prove that point that, guns are a necessity when you have people like that or basically, no puns intended, loose cannons like this guy who just killed this woman for not letting him smoke in the restaurant. So there was also an article I did find, and it was on the Daily Mail, and I think it's the same person. Ironically, though, I don't know, that's probably not the right word, but it looks like this woman, this girl, this is the one who actually became married a Syrian man, or, ISIS man. I think it's the same one, but it looks like her name looks like Fatima, but I thought it was Fatima because we have a boss at work who has a name very similar to this girl. So I always question people's, who believe in this. I don't mean this. Well, it's going to come out this way, but I question people who believe in the Muslim culture and stuff. That's just me. I am entitled to my opinion. But anyway, it was on a Daily Mail, and it says this mother is coming out and saying, I gave birth to a monster. Russian mother of the ISIS poster girl chained her daughter up and tried to stop her from marrying a jihadist, but could not stop the girl reaching Syria, where she praises basically these terrorist people. But they do show the one that was actually mentioned on the news that this girl got killed. She actually went over to become part of the ISIS. I don't know her name. I'm looking right at it, but I can't figure it out. Who was a 17-year-old girl. This other girl, by the way, who just went over is 21, I believe. Or actually, it says she's 20. So I don't know what's going on with, the world where these girls feel like it's necessity to help, extend themselves into becoming wives to these Islamists and these ISIS people. So it's very disturbing, to say the least. Yeah, I'm trying to look at their names. There's actually two different ones they're showing. I think there's like a lot of them. They're showing at least three of them on this one article that these girls had went over to become part of the ISIS terrorists, support them, and even marry these men. Again, and they're all very young too, 20, 17, and at least the three they're showing. And there's probably a lot more. And they're from all different countries, too. That's the other thing that's really scary. 17 and a 16-year-old, and plus this 20-year-old. These all were girls that went over to get married to these ISIS men and help fight this war in the Middle East of becoming a terrorist themselves. So, again, that's very, very disturbing. I don't know what's going on in our society, and, pointing the finger at people like myself is not going to help alleviate this problem. It's actually not going to do absolutely nothing. I had some other interesting articles, though. Let me see if I can pull those up. I'm sorry, I am skipping around. It is Black Friday, so that's no excuse. There was one video on the Daily UK, by the way. It says video shows woman grabbing steamer from a child, but it seems to be basically a bogus video, like it was staged. Now, here's the funny thing, though. They're saying that this woman was, staged this, what do you call it? People just fighting over Black Friday sales and tearing, like they're claiming that this woman tore something out of this little kid's hand. But here's the funny thing is, it's somewhere in the article, it says it was actually one of these talk show hosts who might have staged the whole thing or encouraged this woman to stage this bogus incident in today's Black Friday. I'm looking for who it was. It's actually I think it was Jimmy Fallon, is actually the name was mentioned. So I'm going to look, and, they're denying it now, but, yeah. Oh, Jimmy Kimmel. I'm sorry, it was Jimmy Kimmel, not Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel. They're saying this whole thing was set up as, like, a skit for Jimmy Kimmel. So I thought that was probably pretty untasteful, but actually kind of funny, too. Now they're making, it's like a propaganda thing, just showing, oh, look how bad Black Friday is, and just trying to find a skit or a story out of it for TV. But yeah, if you stage something, it's kind of funny. I don't even know why they wrote that article, but that was actually on the Daily UK Mail as well. I'm trying to think. Oh, actually, there was another one on Daily UK that was actually really good. It said surgeon removes 12,000 gallstones from a woman. 12,000 gallstones. So, yeah, that's got to be painful. It looks like basically, I don't know how else to put it. It looks like more like a pile of vomit. But yeah, how do you get that many gallstones? Because apparently this woman suffered from really bad stomach pains and acid reflux. And what they found, though, was in this woman, again, was 12,000 gallstones. So that's pretty. And they said it's like new world record, and specimen could be kept in London. So something like almost kept in the Guinness Book of World Records, because this woman was like in a lot of pain. Again, I'm not being very clear, but it was an article on the Daily Mail. Yeah, it says the doctor was astonished to remove a staggering 11,950 gallstones from the inside of an Indian woman, thought to be the New World Record. So, yeah, so she had a severe case of gallstones. So, and they show pictures of her gallstones and the woman. I guess I don't know if it's her doctor or her husband, but yeah, that's unbelievable. That's an awful lot of gallstones. So, yeah, I felt bad. Yeah, there is some like interesting stories I did find on Daily Mail. It's more like gossip anymore. Again, you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt, because it was Black Friday today, going back to that. One titled, "It's Whack Friday, Temper Phrase at Mall as Shoppers Come to Blow Amid Thanksgiving Evening Sales Bonanza." Two men in the mall in Louisville, Kentucky, began fighting for no reason. The brawlers are outside the shops and away from the bargains at the time. So people's tempers were very short yesterday, and I'm sure obviously today. After 30 seconds, police officers arrives on the scene and stop the fights. Stop that fight in particular. So I didn't hear anything about like this kind of stuff around us, thank goodness. But yeah, I guess elsewhere there was some type of fights. Why I don't really understand. Again, people seem pretty in control around the areas I was at yesterday. On some darker stories, though, I did pull up. I'm looking at them now. I did put them on my Facebook page just for the intentions of reading them, but I really never read them all the way through. There was one that was interesting, and this one was in. I got to look at this real quick, folks. Okay, it was in South Carolina. And it was something pertaining to Craigslist. I really don't trust this. It said Frank Fraser fatally shot after trying to rob couple using fake Craigslist ad. So this was in South Carolina again. Would-be robber is dead after he lured a couple with a fake Craigslist ad selling used car and ended up dead when his intended victim gave him a free gunshot wound. So good for them that, this guy got probably what he deserved. I assume that he was hoping to pull a fast one on these people, trying to sell him a car, and instead he got something in return. And he won't be doing this again to anybody else, apparently. There was one. These are actually all yesterday, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Actually, this one says today. One on Ronald Prickett stabs father to death during a fight over fast food. This was in New Orleans, Louisiana. Police say a 32-year-old Ronald Prickett became so enraged at his parents for not getting him some fast food that he killed his father and stabbed his mother. So that's really good. Your parents don't bring you home your fast food, you just kill them. That makes sense. It happened on Wednesday after Fortunato and Renetta Prickett ordered fast food from a fast food restaurant and failed to get anything for their son. And this guy doesn't look like a kid, so he looks like a grown adult, but he got pissed off and he ended up killing his parents for not getting him anything to eat. It's no joke. Oh, Dream and Demon actually did do something a little lighthearted and said one on Thanksgiving, which was pretty nice. So they gave a nice, happy Thanksgiving for that web link, as these horrendous stories all the time. They had another one today. Wilbert Glover repeatedly raped, kidnapped teen, kept chained in basement. Sounds like something from one of these really morbid horror movies. St. Paul. Let's see. St. Paul. Give me a moment. Minnesota. I thought it was. I just didn't want to make say that incorrectly. Here's a crazy one for you. Police have arrested Wilbert Glover after they say that the 55-year-old kidnapped a 19-year-old and held him captive. So I repeated myself there deliberately in his basement, where he repeatedly raped the teen for several days. It did say him. St. Paul charged kidnap and sex assault of, authorities say, a 55-year-old St. Paul's man has been charged with kidnapping and first-degree criminal sexual conduct in connection to an incident in which the 19-year-old man was held against his will and sexually assaulted over the course of 4 days. So this time, that's kind of weird. It's like tables have turned, I guess. It's a man raping a 19-year-old boy or a man. A couple called police after 8 p.m. Tuesday to report they had answered a knock at their door and were greeted by a teen who told them he had just escaped from his neighbor's basement where he was held being sexually assaulted for days. So that's pretty interesting. That was on the Dream and Demon, by the way. That's actually taken me by surprise because I actually didn't plan to read any of these stories, and I did. So obviously that got me off guard. There was something on MeTV that they actually put 75 years Bruce Lee. Today would have been martial artist and action superstar Bruce Lee's 75th birthday. So, today would have been his birthday. It would have been 75 if he was still alive. I have something on the prisoner on here, but that's just stuff I had signed up for even on my Facebook account. So that's pretty interesting. Again, I really honestly didn't want to get into reading these stories. I always end up doing it even after I say I won't. Not this weekend. It feels like Sunday to me already, and it's only Friday. It's not even Saturday yet. But next Saturday, not this coming Saturday, but a week from Saturday, I will be going to a Miley Cyrus concert, which I really didn't want to go to. I just figured, what the hell? You know what? I'll at least try it. The tickets were cheap, so I didn't mind at least giving it a shot. A friend sent me this the other day, and I wasn't on the air, obviously, so I am going to read it now. Once it lets me open it up, it won't get rid of this advertisement. So... unfortunately, I love when that happens. So I'm going to try to open this again. 2 women charged in prostitution sting Home Depot parking lot. Now, get this, though. This isn't the Morning Call. That's a local Lansdale paper. Easy one to read even for Walter, I hope. 2 women were charged Tuesday. This happened, by the way, on... it's got today's date, but this article is actually a couple days ago. And they're not giving the actual link to the date on this one. Oh, it does, actually. It was on the 25th. 2 women were charged Tuesday as a part of a prostitution sting in South Allentown. Ashley Holloway, 21, of Philadelphia, was arrested at 3:11 p.m. in the parking lot of the Home Depot, 1951 Glenwood Street, Southwest, by a Vice detective who had responded to an ad on a back page on Backpage.com. According to the court records, Holloway allegedly offered the detective sex for $100. It's amazing what people will do for money. The detective also stopped a car driven by Breeny Manson, 20, of Allentown, who police said dropped off Holloway for the sex date. Police found marijuana in the car and also on Holloway's records show. Holloway was charged with promoting prostitution. Both women were charged with possession of marijuana. They were arraigned by the district judge Robert Howla and sent to Lehigh County Jail. Holloway is on $7,500 bail and Manson's on $5,000 bail. This was again on the 25th. So again, these stories are interesting. You can't say much more about those. It's just kind of an irony that that stuff happens not too far from where I live, or at least in the same state, if anything else. There was some other articles that were just really interesting. One was actually... this one was interesting. I had it was on Breitbart, and it's just I was complaining about this the other day, but it says university students confronted with concealing after seeing a Confederate flag on. Confronted with counseling after seeing a Confederate flag on laptop. So I mean, people. Again, here's this whole thing where people get. I find this offensive. So somebody found at this university in Massachusetts, they needed counseling because they got upset to see after seeing a Confederate flag on somebody's laptop. I mean, how ridiculous is that? And this was on Breitbart. Did I say Breitbart? I think it's Breitbart. And this was the other day. I don't think I read this one because part of it was after my show. University students of Massachusetts who were upset by the image of a Confederate flag sticker on another student's laptop were offered counseling services at Framheim State University or something. It doesn't really matter. The point is this, how far does this have to go where people, you mind your own business and you're upsetting somebody for minding your own business. You're doing something that's not even really affecting anybody else. So some students apparently got upset from seeing a Confederate flag. How ridiculous is that? I mean, it is really ridiculous. What can I say? But these stories I wish I just kind of dismissed from reading. I know I do anyway, but it did just get like way. We live in a society of babies, of people who are truly just very childish and just find reasons to blame others. And it just seems never to stop. There was one, too. It says new Swiss law bans women from wearing burqas in public, which, hey, I don't have any problem with. That's on opposingviews.com, by the way, in case you're interested in reading that article. I honestly, again, don't have a problem with it. I think that should be that way, and if you have a problem with that, hey, if you have to wear a burqa, you do it in your house. If you're in somebody else's country, especially in the U.S., I think that's only fair that you abide by the rules like we have to abide by your rules if we go to your country. So that's just me. That's my personal opinion, what they should do in the U.S. Hey, there was a funny story. I didn't read it. It was from the other day on the Daily Mail, and it was titled "Man versus Spider." Police attended a domestic, which turns out to be a scared man. Basically, is a necrophobe. And the police attended a flat in Sydney's North Shore after reports of a violent domestic incident, but it turned out to be a terrified man trying to kill a spider. I'm sorry, I hate spiders myself, but I don't know exactly what the size, because I guess in Sydney, the spiders Sydney, Australia, I'm sure the spiders can get quite humongous, but I'm just picturing like the little spiders we have in our house, which I just don't like. But this man like literally flipped out. Police burst into an apartment to stop a murder after neighbors hear a man shouting, "I'm going to kill you," and womanly screams, only if I find a terrified homeowner trying to squash a spider. So the man was literally screaming like a woman because he was afraid about this spider. NSW police officers attend a domestic incident after reports of death threats. The domestic turns out to be a standoff between a man and a spider. The vicinity man was so terrified of the nacrid, he was screaming loudly. Again, like a woman, apparently. That was on the 25th, that story. So that's going back a couple days. But it still makes me laugh. I'm not going to tell, I'll just give you the source on this one in case, because you're comic book fans and stuff. Must-see artist dad poses as horror icons for awesome paintings, and that was on iWalter.com. A kid today, by the way, I was in Best Buy, and this kid was telling me, it was a kid that works there, some little spoilers I didn't even know about on some of these shows, like, what is it, The Flash and Green Arrow. You know, he really likes these shows. He didn't like the new Supergirl, though. He's an employee at Best Buy. But he said they're actually going to bring Smallville, do a little crossover. And Smallville's been off for a couple of years now. But he said apparently they're doing a crossover of Smallville and either Green Lantern or The Flash. You know, because they're all the same group at one point. They all work together, I guess. You know, as super friends or whatever you want to call them, or yeah, something like. I don't read the comics. I just thought it was interesting. It's like, yeah, that stuff does pretty well when they do these quote unquote crossovers on superheroes joining up to fight the bad guys, the baddies. So that was pretty cool to hear that. I'm doing my last thing, by the way, my cross, because it is a Black Friday show, so I just don't want to make it too annoying, which I know I can be, even to myself. I can't bear to listen to myself for too long. So, folks, yeah, I'm going to let that go. Now, I think it's Cyber Monday is coming up, obviously, too. It's usually after Black Fridays, or I thought it's like, I'm looking for the dates to make sure I'm saying that right. Cyber Monday 2015. Because usually I thought it's a little further off. So I'm looking for the... it says Monday, November 30th is Cyber Monday. So yeah, this coming Monday would be Cyber Monday. So if you missed out on any deals, and honestly... some of the Black Fridays I know you should have at least certain days off that people can just enjoy their holiday. It seems like Thanksgiving, though, over the years has progressively gotten closer to that. It's no longer technically a holiday. They're just treating it as another day of the week. Christmas is the same way, which is unfortunate. I think that a lot of that is because of the religious aspects. People... kind of dismiss the fact that, that's a religious holiday for a reason. So it's kind of nice when those days were kind of kept, best way to put it, sacred. They don't seem to no longer be held to that level anymore, because apparently it would be just too offensive to others. So, which is unfortunate, because again, those are to me, I think those are important to keep. That people can just share their time together and just kind of relax. I mean, I'm a hypocrite. I understand on that, because I like going out, I like shopping and people watching and stuff, but. in one aspect, in one perspective, I'm no different than anybody else. But, and I get some, fun out of doing that too. Some ways, yeah, people say, well, that's instant gratification. Well, yeah, so it is. So shoot me and put me out of my misery because I'm so different than everybody else. But on another note, it was nice yesterday and today. And the scary thing for me, though, is I know I'm getting closer and closer. I will have to face the reality of going back to work. I've been off for quite a bit of time and enjoying my time off and not complaining about it. But again, that time is going to come to an end, which will probably be probably a good thing too. Keep me from get myself into possibly any type of trouble. So anyway, folks, yeah, I keep on saying, okay, I'm going to end this show, but I haven't. But I think that time is coming up quickly. So hopefully your Black Friday went well. Mine, I think, wasn't too bad. I was out a little bit late last night, or up late, I should say. And today I actually slept in for the first time after a while until noontime almost, or at least 11 o'clock, which for me has been trying to change that, but I didn't do too good of a job. So, folks, if I have anything coming up or to talk about, I will do a show on the weekend. If not, everyone have a good weekend. And I'm sure some people might be looking forward to this weekend just to do more Christmas shopping. And then obviously whatever you don't do, you have Cyber Monday to cash in on some more of the holiday sales. So everyone, thank you for listening to me. And for now, I'm going to sign off. So I hope you enjoyed what I tried to do today. Okay, thanks for listening.